For as long as we've driven cars, we've imagined a world where those cars could fly. The Curtiss autoplane, invented by American aviation pioneer Glenn Curtiss in 1917, is widely regarded as the first attempt at building a flying car. Although it was able to lift slightly off the ground, it never achieved full flight, according to the New York Times. But today, a new world of flying cars is upon us. Specifically, flying taxis that look strikingly like large remote-controlled drones. Since they don't actually have any road-going capability, though, many don't consider them to technically be flying cars. But hey, where's the fun in that? Either way, this new technology, officially known as electric vertical takeoff and landing, or eVTOL aircraft, is an example that the future really is now. All around the world, dozens of young companies are aiming to use battery-powered eVTOL aircraft, and to a lesser degree other forms of VTOL aircraft, to do to air travel what companies like Uber and Lyft have done to ground transport. Need to get from one end of the city to the other in rush hour? No problem, just order a flying taxi. But as promising as the industry is, with experts predicting it'll grow by billions of dollars in market value over the next 5 to 10 years, critical fire safety questions remain. Welcome to Learn Something New by NFPA Journal. As recently as 2018, flying taxis seemed, well, out of reach. But in the past couple of years, battery technology has made such huge strides, with batteries becoming lighter and, most importantly, more energy dense, that many experts say we're only a few years away from commercially available flying taxis. One of the remaining challenges, however, relates to the ground infrastructure needed to facilitate these operations, facilities known as vertiports. Put simply, a vertiport is to a flying taxi what an airport is to a plane. And the problem with vertiports is that currently there is essentially zero guidance on how to safely build one, inspect one, and certify one. It's not a known occupancy type to the vast majority of authorities having jurisdiction. So that's why several technical committee members for NFPA 418, standard for heliports, are at the moment hard at work crafting a new chapter on vertiports for the 2024 edition of the standard. They hope it will give vertiport designers, AHJs, and others some guidance when it comes to vertiport fire, electrical, and life safety. While we don't yet know the specifics of what this chapter will entail, we do already have some sense of what some of the big safety concerns are when it comes to eVTOL aircraft and vertiports. And it's all about those big aircraft batteries and the infrastructure that'll be needed to charge them. When we talk about the flying taxi business, more formally the urban air mobility industry, we're talking about massive amounts of electricity. Charging these aircraft would take 800 to 1,000 volts of direct current, more than twice what a Tesla supercharger provides. A study published by NASA last year found that a proposed vertiport in Houston would use 50 megawatt hours of energy per day. The average American household uses roughly 11 per year. On board, the batteries powering eVTOL aircraft will have an energy density of about 325 to 400 watt hours per kilogram, almost twice as energy packed as Tesla car batteries. All of this electricity use at vertiports introduces the potential for fires. And as we've learned from the proliferation of electric vehicles, fires involving lithium-ion and other types of batteries are notoriously challenging to deal with. They take massive amounts of water to put out, and once initially controlled, they can continue reigniting, even days after the initial incident. These are the kinds of questions that Rex Alexander, who is leading the efforts by the NFPA 418 Technical Committee to write the new vertiport chapter, is currently grappling with. Here he is in an interview I conducted with him in June.
If you do have an incident, you have a, say, worst case, lithium-ion battery runaway, and the aircraft is, fortunately, let's say it's on the ground. Well, if it's a ground-based, that's one thing. But what do you do if it's on a roof? What do you do if it's on top of a building? What do you do with that incident? How do you control it? How do you deal with it? Because, well, once you get it under control, doesn't mean it's out. Well, they can reignite up to 24 hours later. So say you have this incident, you really can't put it on an elevator and take it down. Heaven forbid the thing reignites on the way down in the elevator. Closed spaces are a big deal because the venting creates explosive gases. Well, you don't want to contain that. You want to get rid of it. You want to vent that.
It seems that the industry isn't opposed to getting creative when it comes to finding solutions to these problems. In an interview last year with urbanairmobilitynews.com, Simon Wally, a safety executive at a leading vertiport design company called Skyports, theorized that in the event of a fire, maybe you could drop the eVTOL aircraft into a giant tank of water. Firefighters actually did this with a flaming BMW EV in the Netherlands in 2019. The same executive was a bit more vague in a statement sent to NFPA Journal recently. Skyports vertiports are being designed and equipped to fight and mitigate against risks from alternative aircraft fuel systems like lithium-ion batteries, he said. We are working with manufacturers to understand the characteristics of their aircraft and power systems to develop the necessary systems and procedures to either fight an onboard fire or safely isolate the vehicle or component at a vertiport. One tangible element of fire safety guidance Wally said will be used in the design of Skyports vertiports is NFPA 855. Standard for the installation of stationary energy storage systems, since many vertiports are likely to also include ESS, needed to supplement grid power because of the massive amounts of electricity involved in the operations. Many other questions remain, like how the fire service will be trained to handle fires involving flying taxis, but the short of it is this. The same fire safety hazards that exist now when it comes to electric vehicles and energy storage systems are likely to exist and maybe even be amplified when it comes to the urban air mobility industry. Managing those hazards will in part come by way of new requirements being crafted for a vertiport chapter in NFPA 418. If you're interested in learning more about this exciting topic, check out the cover story for the fall 2021 edition of NFPA Journal, where we take a much deeper dive into the fire safety considerations for this new technology. A link to the story is provided in the description of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, be sure to like them, drop us a comment, and share them with your friends. As always, be sure to subscribe to NFPA's YouTube channel for more content like this.